3, 2, 1. Okay. Welcome on to the Black Column Podcast. We are back for another week of the show. I am your host, the crew philosopher here.
And I am your other host, aka your wait, that doesn't make sense. Sorry. And I'm Shannon, aka your favorite blurred, aka the other host.
Yes, we are here once again, bringing you guys our analysis of everything going on in the news. Before we proceed, Shannon, how have you been since we last spoke to each other?
I had a bit of a rough week, but I'm good.
Really? What made it rough?
I don't know if I should say on here.
Like, don't say it. You don't have to say it. All right, fine. That's cool. As far as I'm concerned, my week was okay. You know, a lot of news events happening. I'm reading this book by some philosopher. I'm forgetting his name, but it's basically about the history of sexuality. And it is it's been a long time since I read a very condensed book. Like, you know, one where they're using words that is above your reading level. So you can't read, you have to like stop and look things up, and you can't read as fast as you want to. It's very frustrating. It's been, I haven't felt this way in years. Like the last time that happened to me was maybe 10th grade English class, Mr. Daly. I was in AP English. That was like the last time I had this happen to me. So it's I don't know. It's just reminding you how dumb you are. You know, so I'm like,
AP English was not 10th grade, by the way. I'm pretty sure that was 12th grade.
It wasn't 12, it had to be 11th then. So 12th grade is senior, you're out of high school.
Yeah, but isn't that not when we were AP English?
No, AP
it was not 10th grade. It had to be 11th then.
It was 11th then. It was 11th.
Yeah.
AP English, Mr. Daly. So it's been a while since I've read some literature that was that challenging. But so far what I'm read is very interesting. It's basically the premise of the book is it's like 4 volumes, one volume 1. And it just goes through kind of, you know, the history of sexuality, not from the beginning of time, but around the 16th century, when we kind of transitioned from being, you know, the Romans anyway, and the Greeks, how sex was kind of a part of everyday life. It wasn't hidden, you know. It was very common for people to have, you know, for example, adults in America today, when you have children, right? One of the things that happens once you have children is your sex life goes down because you have to schedule your sex life around, you know, your children, right? Like, you know, because you don't want your children hearing you have sex, things like that, right? They didn't worry about that. In fact, it wasn't even a thing to them to hide sex from their children.
They were very open and out there.
Yeah, so the book basically goes through how we went from that to now where everything's kind of hush hush, and we have, you know, pretty much pushed sex and sexuality to the confines of our bedrooms versus before, where, you know, sex was kind of just out there amongst the culture. It was a very interesting book. I've been wanting to read it for a while, so I'm finally getting started with it. So that's kind of been, you know, what I've been doing for the past couple of days. But it's frustrating because I can't read it straight through, because every 2 seconds I got to stop and look up a word. So, yeah, I don't know.
At least you've been doing something very productive. I've been watching a lot of anime, so that's what I've been doing.
Oh, whoa, what you been watching? Because I watch anime too now.
Well,
Wait,
I just finished.
Before you go, because I don't want to say anime that I've been watching. So I started and have caught up to that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Oh, everyone's watching that one.
Shannon, you gotta watch. Oh, it looks dumb. It sounds dumb and it looks dumb, but it is so fucking dope. So that I've been watching. Of course, My Hero's Back is great.
I'm letting that build up before I start watching it.
There's one called Mushoku Tensei.
I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, it's an interesting anime, though. It is very, very. I mean, you want to talk about pervy? Now, anime is pervy, but I mean, this goes to the line like of uncomfortableness.
I've seen lots that go that way.
Yeah. So, but if you kind of get past that, it's pretty good. And there's one more I can't think of, but I want to hear what you've been watching, because then I might have to watch some new stuff.
I watched Jujutsu Kaisen. Did you watch that?
Oh, you finished?
Yeah, I finished it.
Shannon, I have never, the sensei, the strongest, his name.
Gojo.
Yo, let me tell you something. Right now, everyone knows I'm very comfortable in my sexuality, right?
Oh, God.
So episode 7, right, where you find out what he looks like, I was like, what a beautiful man.
Oh my god.
That was so wild. Yeah, that was a good one. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jujutsu Kaisen's really good. I watched The Promised Neverland finally. That's been on my list for a while. Have you seen that one?
I saw the first season. I heard the second season is awful.
Well, okay, so on my podcast, we were talking about how because we have a co-host on there that reads the manga. He said it's only bad if you read the manga because they left a lot of stuff out. But if you're just watching it without having read the manga, then
Okay.
it's good. I thought it was the second season was fine. But again, if I didn't read the manga.
Read
So
them
I
out.
don't know.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So I watched that, and now I'm watching Attack on Titan from the beginning, just so that I can remember everything before I go on to watch the
See
third and the fourth season.
that I want to follow you on. So like every week, I want you to come on and say where you are in Attack on Titan because I want to see like what it's like as you watch season 4 with like everything fresh. Because I didn't do what you did.
Yeah.
I kind of just went in, just like whatever I remember, I'm sure it's good enough. But you're gonna be going in like fresh, everything kind of in your mind.
But see, that's the thing. It's not though, because I didn't remember a lot. There was a lot that I didn't remember. So I was like, because I didn't watch season 3 either. Because I tried to watch season 3 and I was like, I don't remember anything that happened in season 2. Because I didn't like season 2. So I was like, let me just watch it all again.
No, I'm saying, but you will though.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
now
I'm saying so now you're gonna go into this fresh, like everything kind of refreshed, and then going into season 4. I didn't do that. I just went in season 4, like whatever is important for you to remember. I'm sure I'll remember it. Right. So I want to see like the differences between because season 4 was a great season.
Okay, I'm looking forward to getting there. I'm on the last episode of season 1 right now. So
okay.
I'm predicting it'll take me maybe like another week and a half to finish the whole thing.
Gotcha.
It's literally only taking me 2 days to watch the first season. So
yeah. All right. It's cool. I'm glad you are back on the anime train. It's like you stop for a little bit.
Sometimes you need a break. Sometimes you watch so much, and then I'm just like, I need to watch, or I need to read a book, or like watch some regular TV, and then you just take a break, and then you just.
I'm the same way where I have to be like in a certain mood to watch anime. Except for what I call my favorites, like Attack on Titan. I can watch every week. My Hero is one of those I watch faithfully. But like other than that, first of all, I love binging over.
Especially with anime, it's so short. Yeah.
Absolutely, I love binging. And I love being in like an anime mood. So, got my snacks. I got time where, I have any work to do at all. Just sit back and let's just binge this bad boy. And my mood is just through the roof. So,
yeah. Especially because, sorry, I know we're spending a lot of, this is very,
it's fine.
This is a tangent. But I don't watch dub. I watch my animes mostly sub. So I really need to like be paying attention.
Sub gang. There's only like two, 3 animes I watch dub over sub. One, Dragon Ball Z, I watch dub. You watch the sub? Oh hell no, not me. Goku's voice in sub is just.
I like his voice subbed. I don't care.
I put up with it, but I'm like, God damn, I just like that. Just because
I think that voice matches his personality. He is immature and a large child, so I feel like his voice matches.
No, you're probably right. It's just because like kind of like Dragon Ball Z was kind of the first anime I stumbled into, and so his dubbed voice is ingrained in my mind. Yeah, it's like just like the power up voice in his dub is my childhood. So I watch that dub always. Yu Hakusho, I always watch dub. And Rurouni Kenshin, I watch dub. Everything else, I watch
Sailor Moon, I watch dubbed. That's the only thing I watch dubbed. Also, you're right.
Yeah. So other than that, everything else, I'm with you. A sub, like it is insane how like the gap between how believable the sub voices sound usually and the dub is insane.
Yep.
So yeah, a passion over convenience for me. I'd rather read it along than question before we get into our main stuff. Juju, whatever it is, I can't say the whole thing. Which was like your favorite battle episode? Episode 7.
You gotta name what happens in the episodes because I don't really know just off the number.
Is when Goto.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes.
Is when he first, shows us how gorgeous he is. That episode. The episode 19 where what's the main character's name?
Itadori.
Yeah, where Itadori and my brother guy for that guy.
Which guy? The villain?
No, he was the guy that my brother.
Who?
Junpei? He's the big muscular guy.
Oh yeah,
when he claps,
I forgot his name. Oh, that was good. That was a good fight. I enjoyed that. That was
that
good.
One or the last fight between where it was the main character, the girl versus those 2 guys. It was like the last episode.
No. Definitely 19.
I agree. That was pretty dope. The clapping, the clapping guy.
Were you not? Sorry. Oh my God. This is the episode of the Birth in This podcast. Were you not angry when? Because are you somebody that watches the intros or do you skip the intros?
I always about the intros.
Okay, so were you not angry when Junpei didn't end up surviving? Did you not feel cheated by that because you thought he was gonna like have a redemption arc and go on to live a happy life based on the opening, based on the intro, and then he died?
So that was very, very shocking for me because when he died, I thought, oh, he has to come back.
Right.
And, but no, they kept going. I was like, wait a minute, did they just kill this dude off? Because I was expecting him to join the crew.
Yeah,
that was bold for the anime to do.
Yep.
I wonder if
more.
Sorry,
guys. Spoilers if anyone.
Oh shit! Yeah, we're gonna put a big spoiler alert because we just kind of gave that part away. I will say this though. I wonder if animes will start doing that moving forward because a lot of times people complain that the openings for animes are like kind of like spoilers as far as you know what's going to happen. Yeah, I don't feel that way. But if they do what this anime did, as far as like using the opening to be like a misdirection a little bit, it could be kind of effective. Because I was stunned. I was like,
yeah, I felt very cheated by that. I was like, wow, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, but enough of the anime talk. We nerded out right there. Let's get into it's kind of fitting that we did nerd out because boy the news this week was depressing as hell. So do you want to start with the Daunte Wright shooting or you want to start with Johnson trying to kill us all?
Wow, I mean, maybe we should start light and then get heavy. Save the heavy stuff for the end. Or the stuff that'll take longer to talk about, I think.
All right, so let's go into Johnson trying to kill us all. Okay, so as you, for those of you who are faithful listeners or watchers of this podcast, you know that me and Shannon have both taken the J&J vaccine, right? I was always planning on taking it, but I will admit that Shannon taking it emboldened me to actually take it because she was someone around my demographic who I know personally who took it, and she was living, so it made me feel more confident taking the vaccine. And I had my vaccine this past Saturday, and what was that the what was that? I want to get the exact date.
That was the 11th,
the 10th. Yeah, so I got my vaccine on the 10th, right? Around 2:00, and I felt good. Went in, I was nervous leading up to it. This close to changing my mind too, by the way. The day of, and I was like, nah, I can't bitch out now. I gotta just go get this vaccine because I'd rather get the vaccine than get the COVID. You know what I'm saying? I can't be caught slipping this close to the end of this thing. So, get my vaccine. Felt good. Was looking out for the side effects. I did a bunch of research on the side effects too, just to prepare myself mentally about, okay, however bad you feel, just remember it's temporary. And I remember Shannon telling me her experience. She got the shot. She felt pretty good right before she went to bed. That's when she had the chills and the shaking and stuff. And then she woke up and she was fine, but then she had a headache. And then a couple hours after that, she was back to normal. Is that pretty much your experience?
Yeah. At the second day, I had a headache and I had body aches, but that only lasted like half the day.
Yeah. All right. So Shannon's testimony was fresh in my mind, right? So I get the shot, do my 15 minutes, to make sure I don't die. Then get up, go home. I'm feeling good, Shannon. I felt good. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm dodging this thing, right? I'm dodging. So I get home maybe like an hour later. Now here's the thing: they told me to take Tylenol as soon as I get home. He said don't even wait for the symptoms. He said start drinking a bunch of water and take the Tylenol. This way, if you are going to develop a fever, you have like the medication in your body already just to kind of help you make it less severe. Right. So I know I'm taking it. I felt pretty good. I treated myself to some unhealthy food. I'm like, what I'm saying? Like, I feel good, right? Right. I'm watching snowfall. And then right around 11:00 p.m. Right. So I got the shot at 2, around 11:00 p.m. That's when I started feeling a little bit, stiff and achy. Right.
Okay.
Okay. So, get into bed. An hour after that, immediately nonstop shaking.
Really?
I shook so bad. I've never shaken this much in my life. In my life, right? And that's including that time in New York City where it was super cold and I got caught in the traffic a couple of years, like a year or two ago. I was shaking non-stop. Just shaking. And unlike Shannon, I had the chills, but I also had a fever at the same time.
Oh, you had a fever.
I had 100.3 fever.
Wow. Okay.
Right? So I'm shaking. I'm under the covers. My mom had me drinking so much water to stay hydrated. So I kept peeing. So I had to keep getting up to use the bathroom.
Get up. Oof.
Oh my God. It was bad. Because I had to, you know how when you're like really sick and you have to focus on walking? Mm-hmm. It was one of those. I couldn't just walk. I had to focus on walking. Right. So I'm focused on walking. I'm peeing. I'm going back to, the bed under the covers. I'm shaking. I have a fever. I'm still taking my medicine. And Shannon, I didn't even know what was going on. Right? I was that hot where I was hot but cold at the same time. I had a headache, so I couldn't think, and it just seemed like time was going so slow. I was like, Shannon lied to me.
No, you got it way worse than I did. You got it way worse.
I said Shannon made it seem like it wasn't that bad. This is awful. This is.
I mean, the chills. When I had the chills, it was pretty bad. And it was pretty bad the next day too. But but you seem to. I never got a fever though, so you seem to have it worse than I did.
This was so bad. Now, like you though, here's the thing though. When I woke up, I was kind of over the chills. Mm-hmm. So the chills were kind of gone. The fever has subsided. I remember because I was taking every time I got up to pee. On my way back to the room, I would take my temperature. I have like an external one. Yeah. And I would take my temperature to see. And so when I woke up, my temperature was like at 98.7. And so my fever had kind of went down. And I just had the headache for like you did for a couple of hours. And then like around 3 or 4 o'clock, I noticed the headache was gone and my energy kind of went up and I was like back to, my normal self. And I didn't want to get too happy because I read reports of some people feeling better and then getting hit with like a second wave of symptoms, but that didn't happen to me. I went to bed, woke up, and I had some sore, stuff going on, but I was kind of back to my, usual self. And I say all that to say, I felt good after that, right? I went through the experience. Then Tuesday comes, I wake up, I check my phone as I usually do, and I see Johnson & Johnson is trending on Twitter. So I'm like, oh, it must be people are so happy about the vaccine. I check J&J. The FDA and the CDC is suspending Johnson & Johnson vaccine pending, investigations because of blood clotting. Excuse me? The vaccine I just put in my body is now suspended. And here's the thing, the media you guys are just so messed up the way you guys report on things because they didn't report like the ratio.
Yeah.
So all I saw was Johnson & Johnson vaccine, blood clotting. I just got this thing.
The ratio is important because I didn't see that. I read a couple of articles and I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna die. And then it took me first of all, I had to Google myself how many people have already been vaccinated with J&J. None of the articles I read said that. So out of 7 million people that have received Johnson & Johnson, only 6 people have gotten these blood clots. But they didn't. Nope, no article I read said that. I had to find that information on my own.
It was so irresponsible the way the media did the story because you're just freaking out. You're like, wait a minute. What's going to happen? And unlike you kind of had some time goes by. So sure, you were like afraid when you first heard the news. But then once you start doing, your research, you kind of figure, okay, well, I'm kind of past this 3-week hump that there's some people to be on the lookout for, right? For me, I'm freaking out. I just got this thing, and you know me, I start freaking out. So I'm like, oh my God, maybe I'm still sick, right? Or then everything that's kind of wrong with you, you attribute it to the vaccine, right? Yeah. Because I'm someone that naturally deals with, chronic pain in general, right? My family is a family that suffers from headaches, so we get like headaches. Yeah. So getting a headache like once every, 2 weeks, something that's normal for me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't last long, but but now that's like one of the symptoms. So I'm freaking out. I do my research and I figured, like you said, oh, okay, well, it's 6 out of 6.8 million people that have the J&J vaccine. That's literally like a 1 in a million chance that you get this blood clotting issue. Then on top of that, it's all chicks. Right? So now I'm like, oh, this is a woman thing, right? This is a woman problem. You know what I'm saying? So what am I worried about, right? Not that you want bad things to happen to women. Of course you don't. But still, it just made me feel good that, okay, well, I'm kind of in the clear here. But I just thought it's very irresponsible the way the mainstream media talked about this, because it was like a freak out for like a couple of hours before they kind of found the right way to talk about this. And I wanted to ask you, based off of everything you've read, do you think they should have suspended the J&J vaccine given the ratio, 6 and 6.8 million?
No. I mean, I guess it is important to kind of look into the issue, because maybe I do support them suspending it so they can understand like what specifically causes the blood clot, so they can issue some kind of warning. Because like you said, like we were talking beforehand, like you saying like you were guessing that it might be linked to birth control. Like they can, if they figure that out for sure, then they can issue a warning. Like if you're on birth control, maybe you shouldn't get this vaccine or something like that. So I feel like that's important. So I mean, maybe, but I just feel like they need to like, do a little, the media specifically needs to do a little better and trying to ease fear and like stop trying to push out fear, that this vaccine is dangerous, because that's what's going to happen when you see all these headlines and stuff like that. But yeah, for a while I was thinking like, damn, like why did I get this one? Why couldn't I just be patient? But it's fine. I think I'm gonna live because Hmm?
So maybe we spoke too soon. So I put in Johnson & Johnson in Google because I wanted to get like the specific term for the blood clotting condition. But I put it in, and it said the first story that comes up, Shannon, it says Johnson & Johnson reveals 2 more blood clot cases in vaccine recipients.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure it'll happen to other people.
I said Johnson & Johnson on Wednesday disclosed 2 more cases of people who suffer from rare blood clots after receiving the company's COVID-19 vaccine, including an otherwise healthy 25-year-old man.
Ooh, a man.
Oh, I take back what I just said earlier. All right. The man received the shot during a clinical trial for the vaccine on September 21st.
What?
All right, now. Okay, wait.
Oh God, I am gonna die, aren't I?
No. It's so here's what it says. It says the man received the shot during the clinical trial for the vaccine on September 21st. A company rep said during an emergency Centers for Disease Control and Prevention advisory meeting. 8 days after getting the single dose jab, the man began suffering from fatigue, faintness, and headache, followed by abdominal pain, and was hospitalized with a cerebral hemorrhage, the company rep said. He underwent repeated procedures, was later discharged from the hospital, and is currently listed as in recovery. The second yet to be reported case, a 59-year-old woman who previously suffered from coronary artery disease, experienced extensive deep vein thrombosis after the vaccine was released to the public. She began feeling symptoms 7 days after getting the shot, the Johnson & Johnson rep said. A third case presented in the Johnson & Johnson report was that of a 24-year-old woman who had a cerebral hemorrhage after receiving a placebo, not the actual vaccine during the trials. That third case is interesting. So she got the same thing after receiving the placebo?
What is going on right now? So this happened in the clinical trials, and yet this vaccine was still approved for emergency authorization.
So this is what it seems is based on this article that I'm reading, is that these were from clinical trials. Okay, so I don't know if all these are from the clinical trials. I know the case that about the 25-year-old, he was from a clinical trial. It says the man received the shot during a clinical trial for the vaccine on September 21st. So my thing is, okay, well, was this disclosed to the CDC and the public? Right? You see what I'm saying?
Because it's always something with Johnson & Johnson. Why did I even get this vaccine? I don't know why. It's because it was easily accessible to me. But you know what? This is all part of their plot to kill off Black people. Anyway.
Here's the thing, though. No, you joking. Here's the thing. Johnson & Johnson had all of this baggage, and I went in knowing this bullshit about Johnson & Johnson. But you know what it was? It was my own fear of having. I don't want to go through like what I went through. That would have been awful. Number one. Number two, though, it's kind of Johnson & Johnson has baggage, but I also know the company. I don't know these other companies. I don't know Moderna.
But Pfizer's a major drug company, though. I feel like that one, if anyone, can be trusted. But you know what? Maybe it's something in this one-shot technology, because AstraZeneca's vaccine is doing the same thing to people. So
what I read is not that they're one shot, is that AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson use similar technologies, which is
yeah, oh
for
yeah,
them,
yeah.
what they do is they take a dead virus, I think it's an adenovirus,
Mm-hmm.
and then they use that to, trick your body into making the COVID-19 antibodies versus the Moderna and the Pfizer. They use new technology that doesn't put any virus in your body at all. So maybe that's it as well. But once again, James, like the big thing for me now is what was disclosed to the CDC and the FDA before it kind of hit the public, because we have at least one case for that, definitely based on this New York Post article of the 25-year-old that he had this problem during the trial. And so, did they disclose this to the trial? Because I didn't know that the J&J vaccine came with a risk of blood clotting.
Mm-hmm. I
I didn't
didn't
know
know that
that.
either.
See what I'm saying?
Didn't.
Now, would I have still gotten the vaccine? Maybe I would have went with Moderna or Pfizer. Who knows? Maybe my fear would have said, it's still 1 in a million. Let me go ahead and go with the one shot J&J. Right now, here's the crazy part: we have two more cases now. So now that brings us to what, 6.8 million people that got the vaccine in the U.S. Okay, so what if it turns out that there are more cases of this stuff? Meaning, at one point, does it become reasonable to pull this? Because, like we said, well, we didn't say this on the podcast, but before we started recording, me and Shannon was talking about how for birth control, oral birth control, there's like a 1/1000 chance that you develop blood clots as a woman, and most people don't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, plenty of women still take oral contraceptives because the risk outweigh the rewards.
Yes.
And so, if we're dealing with a situation here where there's a 1 in, I don't know, 900,000 chance that you get blood clotting, okay, is that enough for you not to administer this one shot vaccine in the middle of a pandemic, or even around the world? Because remember, in the U.S., we have the advantage because Joe Biden was talking, saying that, hey, this will not impact our vaccine distribution as a country. And he's right, because we have the Moderna and the Pfizer, but we have the technology where we can get these vaccines to our people. But poor countries don't have the sub-zero freezing, right? And so they actually rely on things like Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca. So what passes the safe threshold? That's a very interesting question that we have to answer.
That is a very interesting question.
Yeah, because now that I know that there's a chance of blood clotting, I might be hesitant. But as we said before, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance that you blood clot by taking birth control. There are all these side effects that comes with taking, Advil and Aleve and stuff. And we all take these medications expecting to be fine, even though on the side of them bottles, there are all of these risks that there's a chance that you might be the one to experience these things.
Yeah.
And so how do we determine what is safe? I don't know.
I don't know either. Now every time I get a headache, I'm gonna think I have a blood clot. So
yeah, same here. Maybe we should kind of even go through what people should be on the lookout for. And hold on, because I remember that part of the reason why they paused it wasn't just because of the blood clotting. It's because what this vaccine causes is a very specific type of blood clotting that happens in the brain, I believe. I'm trying to get the exact blood clotting. Apparently, the way that you usually treat blood clots, you can't use to treat a specific blood clot. You have to go about a different way to treat this specific one. And so I was reading that was one of the reasons why they paused, so that they can kind of notify the healthcare community. Because if you're not on the look, if you aren't told what to look out for, you can easily just mistake this for a regular blood clotting issue, and it's not. You have to go about this in a totally different way. So yeah, I don't know. Do you think this will cause vaccine hesitancy overall?
Yeah. I do think so, at least in the short term. I think it will.
So do you think they did the right thing? Meaning, like, when do you tell people the truth? I guess what I'm asking you. Shannon, you're president. no, you're Queen Shannon, right? Alternative
Okay.
society. You're queen because president means you still have it's checks and balances. I want you in this scenario. You have sole authority to do whatever you want in this scenario, right? So you're Queen Shannon. You know, your advisors come. Hey, Queen. You know, we find out that the vaccine for the people. You know, there's some clotting issues that
Mhm.
seem to be popping up. And as of right now, we know that we know of like 8 cases, and we've already administered 6.8. So it's 8 out of 6.8 million people. What should we do?
Oh.
What should we do, Queen?
I don't know. I'd probably pull it too. I'd probably pull it until you figure out what causes it. Honestly, to be quite honest with you, because
Oh,
if, huh?
what?
I'd probably pull it until they find out what causes the blood clotting.
Yeah, and now that there's a man that got it, it kind of f's up my whole birth control theory.
I'm trying to remember, when did I get this vaccine?
She had doing the math.
Paranoia.
She
When
had
did I
doing the
get it?
math.
I don't even know. When did I get it?
I don't
Sometime
know.
in March.
I
It
mean,
was
we could.
definitely a month ago.
I'm pretty sure we could go through the kind of like the podcast because we talked about it. I think
Yeah, we
pretty
did.
pretty soon after you got it, and so whatever that podcast was, we could count from there as kind of a starting point. For me, I'm on the lookout as well, and I think
Yeah.
maybe we should kind of tell the people what you should do if you already got the Johnson vaccine.
Mm-hmm. You should just monitor yourself for symptoms. And okay, I got vaccinated on the 13th of March. So I'm exactly like a month since I've been
Oh yeah,
vaccinated.
you fine. You fine. You fine. Or you're not fine. Who knows? All this is new. I said, who knows?
Crazy. It's true
Yeah.
though.
Like I understand being worried, but here's the thing about being worried because I called my aunt about it. Because she got the 2-shot vaccine, but she had a friend who had a reaction to one of the two. I forget whether it was Pfizer or Moderna, and they had like a skin condition that popped up with theirs, where they had to go to the hospital. And when she got to the hospital, there were other people there who also have skin reactions to the vaccine, and so
Interesting.
they were there taking care of that. My point is, once you get these vaccines, I'm not saying don't pay attention to your own body, don't monitor if you're having like symptoms. Yeah, of course. But freaking out about something that's already in your body doesn't make any sense because you can't take it out.
No.
Like it's already in there.
It's already there. So
Yeah, it's already in. There's nothing you can do. But just for the people, I just kind of want to just give them the symptom that they should be worried about. And so if you received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine within the last few weeks, you should be on the lookout for these symptoms: severe headaches or severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, and shortness of breath. All right. That's what you should be on the lookout for. Chest discomfort or neurological signs, which can include visual changes, are also possible symptoms. This is as per Fauci. He said, if you experience any of those, call your healthcare provider. And yeah, it also proceeds to say in this article, if someone ends up with a very severe headache or any type of shortness of breath, pain in their leg, or severe pain in their abdomen, they would want to seek medical attention. For people who got the vaccine more than a month ago, the risk is very low at this time. Okay, but that's all they know. This is like a changing situation. All right.
okay.
So, prayers up for people, including me and Shannon. We will be monitoring ourselves to see if either one of us, dies, I guess.
Wow. I've come to terms with it already.
I'm just saying, right? We all have to do what we have to do. There are side effects to all of these things. With the Pfizer and Moderna, yeah, it's cool now, but I don't know what the long-term effects to those are. That's another reason why I got the Johnson & Johnson because they use kind of more traditional technology.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget that a couple people straight up died a couple weeks after they got their Johnson & Johnson or Moderna vaccine.
Yeah, no, yeah. We go to those stories as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, and so look, this is all uncharted territory. It is still for for the overwhelming majority of the public. The chances of you being the one that succumbs to like dying or getting uh blood clots, it is literally like 1 in a million at this point. And so like you're more likely to get struck by lightning than to get a blood clot. But some of us are luckier than others. So
I'd
we
rather take that 1 in a million chance and win the lottery than have a blood clot. So I feel, please.
I agree, but here's the thing: it's not a one in a one. I remember reading an article that you have a higher chance of getting a blood clot from getting COVID than you are from getting it from the vaccine.
Interesting.
So you have that as well. So look, we're kind of screwed either way. We do this thing. We are lucky that we are the first human beings in the history of humanity that has an option to fight this thing. Before we know it's pandemics, you kind of just had to just take your chance. You live like or you don't live. The plague and the bubonic plague and Black Death and the various plagues that hit throughout humanity. They didn't even have an option to fight this thing.
Yeah,
We
it's true.
had an option to fight this thing by human technology, human ingenuity. That comes with risk and cost as well. Every medicine that we take, look, people died so that we can take them. Tylenol, Aleve, all of this stuff. And so maybe just change your mindset. That's what I'm trying to do, just to get through my anxiety. And just, this is my role in humanity's fight against nature.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Maybe that'll help you
Right.
a little bit less stress. But oh boy. That's J&J, man. Y'all stay in the news. Stay in the news. Daunte Wright. Daunte Wright. So it is unfortunate that I have to do this again, where a black man was killed by police in Minneapolis. His name was Daunte Wright. He was 20 years old?
Yeah, he was 20 years old.
20 years old. He was shot by a police officer, a female police officer. And all right, her name was Kim Porter.
She was 26-year veteran. She's on the force for 26 years.
Dude, that's the wildest part. She was on the force for 26 years, and apparently, based off of like the police footage and everything, it appears that she shot this man unintentionally because in the video, she's heard saying taser, taser, and then she shoots. So they pulled him over. Originally, there was like some details saying that they pulled him over because he had air freshener on, but apparently they pulled him over because he had a warrant, or they ran his license and it came.
So are cops just riding around the street running people's plates as they're driving?
I mean, that happens. You know that, right?
That's what I'm asking, because I don't know.
That happens all the time. Yes, and so there are conflicting reports as to why they pulled this guy over. His I believe he was on the phone with his mom at the time, and she said that they pulled him over because of he has the air freshener in his car. But then some details came out. Look, that part is still whatever. The warrant part is true. There's a gun charge warrant for him, and so they proceeded. They were going to arrest him. He tried to go back into his vehicle to drive away, and that's where he got shot unintentionally, based off of what we hear in the footage by this cop. She resigned. She's being arraigned. I kind of don't know where you want to start with this story.
So I like to read comments on Facebook a lot under articles and things like that. And a lot of people were saying that like he probably wouldn't have been dead if he wasn't resisting or whatever. Maybe that's true. But there is no reason 26 years on the job why you should mistake your taser where you should mistake your gun for your taser. Like that part is kind of baffling to me, and that's like a level of negligence that is completely unacceptable. So I mean, I don't really see this as a race thing. I just see this as a complete like I do believe it was an accident, quotes, but it's horribly negligent. It is. And I'm glad that I think, well, first she resigned, first of all, which great. And I think she got charged with manslaughter, right? Or she's getting charged with manslaughter?
Yes, so she's getting charged with second degree manslaughter.
Okay.
All right. So I just want to read something here. It's an ABC article about the timeline for the case so far. Right. So I just want to read this and maybe kind of get us, because I want us to be as factually correct as possible. Okay. And by the way, I'm right. She's being charged with second degree manslaughter.
Manslaughter.
Yeah. All right. So Sunday, April 11th, on Sunday afternoon, Potter and an officer she was training pulled Wright over for an expired registration tag on his car.
Okay.
All right. The officers then determined during the stop that Wright had an outstanding gross misdemeanor warrant. As the officers tried to take Wright into custody, the 20-year-old got back into his car. Police said Potter then announced that she would have used the taser on Wright, according to the Washington County Attorney's Office. She pulled her Glock 9mm handgun with her right hand and pointed it at Wright, saying again that she would tase him, prosecutors said in a statement Wednesday. Potter said, "Taser, taser, taser," and pulled the trigger on her handgun. Potter then said, "Shit, I just shot him," according to prosecutors. Wright's car sped off, traveling several blocks before crashing into another car. Wright died at the scene. Then there were protests that erupted. I don't care about that. Monday, April 12th, protests continued. Okay, the curfew was imposed. Blah, blah, blah. Tuesday, April 13th, Wright's father did an interview. He said he can't accept that was a mistake. All right. Potter submitted her resignation on Tuesday, April 13th from the police department. Okay. In a resignation letter to the city officials, she wrote, "I have loved every minute of being a police officer and serving this community to the best of my ability, but I believe it is in the best interest of the community, the department, and my fellow officers if I resign immediately." And the police chief also resigned as well. Okay. Wednesday, April 14th, Potter was arrested and charged with second-degree manslaughter. A second-degree manslaughter conviction in Minnesota carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Okay. All right. So that's kind of where we're at.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
All right. So did she pull her gun out? Because I didn't watch the video. Did she pull her gun out and then say she was going to tase him while the gun was in her hand? Or did she pull the gun out and shoot it right away? Because I was...
So for this question, I haven't watched the video either.
I was just going off of what you read, though, because the way you read it sounded like she pulled it out and was holding it for a second before she actually fired it.
Yeah, so once again, I haven't watched the video. I've just read transcripts of the video. I would like to watch it as well because, like you, from what I read, it says, I'm just reading it as it says she pulled her Glock 9mm handgun with her right hand and pointed it at Wright, saying again that she would tase him. So apparently, she must have said that she's going to tase him. Then she pulled the Glock 9mm handgun with her right hand and pointed it at Wright, saying again that she would tase him. You wouldn't use again unless she said it previously before. So she must have said it once before she had the gun out. Then she had the gun. Then she said taser, 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 and then pulled the trigger on the handgun.
Okay, so I guess this is not going to be clarified until I watch the video. I just really didn't want to watch it. But if she had the gun in her hand, like if she's holding it for a second before she actually fired it, then what kind of an accident is that? Because if you're holding it, then you have to know at that point that it's not your taser.
So here's the thing, though. The tasers that the police use and the guns they use, apparently, their tasers aren't our tasers.
No, so I know. I saw a picture of the taser.
It looks like a gun.
It looks similar to a gun. It had a little bit of a difference where you should know after 26 years it looked like the handle looked a little shorter. I just feel like after 26 years you should know the difference.
So you're basically saying that you don't buy that this was an accident?
No, not. Well, I gotta watch the video. I gotta see.
Because I believe it was an accident. Right? It doesn't mean that she shouldn't face charges, but to me, I don't think that this is a case of a woman who set out to kill this brother. And
no. I don't necessarily believe that either, but I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like it's incredibly stupid of you or negligent.
But see, okay, so a conversation has to be had about this, and I'm kind of glad that we're getting there, because to me, we are not at a good place as Black people, right? Where we have to have intelligent conversations around our response to police shootings, because if sorry about that, somebody's calling me. We have to have honest conversations around this simple fact, Shannon. Even if we clean up every police department in the world, if we got rid of every racist police officer, if we replace police with just Black people, right, and there was no white people on the police force, you're still going to have cases where civilians are killed by police officers, right? Does every police shooting require a response or protesting, even in cases where it appears to be kind of open and shut? You see what I'm saying? Like, this does not seem to be a miscarriage of justice, because look, whether you believe it was an accident or not, I think we agree that in policing, accidents are going to happen, though. Like, nothing happens even surgeons kill patients. Like, like
Not yeah.
It wasn't, the body gave out, on the surgeon table. No, the surgeon made a mistake and killed the patient. That happens. But we don't, say F these surgeons, right? And so, we have to separate police brutality from cases where it is kind of like an accident. It doesn't mean that she's not. She's probably going to jail.
Yeah, she's probably going to go to jail.
She's probably going to. Yeah, she's probably going to go to jail after doing her job for 26 years. I'll be very interested in seeing, what like if there have been like complaints against her, like from civilian, from citizens and whatnot, because it seemed like she was one of the quote unquote good ones. And so if that's the case, where she has the spotless record, she doesn't have, all these complaints against her badge, I can make an argument it's kind of fucked up that she's just going to jail.
No. I mean, even if it was an accident, you still killed somebody. So
you believe that though? So you believe if someone shoots someone by accident? So if I was I don't know, if I was.
I mean, it's still murder at the end of the day. If I shot somebody by accident, I feel like I'm still going to go to jail. Am I not?
Should you?
I shot somebody. I killed somebody. So probably, I don't know.
No, I'm asking, do you believe you should go to jail if you shot somebody by accident?
Yeah. If I took somebody's life, I feel like it's still at the end of the day a crime. I don't know.
Yeah, but isn't jail supposed to be protecting us from people? What?
I know.
I just said, isn't jail supposed to be, because part of what I'm struggling with is this. Jail to me is supposed to serve specific functions, right? Yes. I'm not down with this idea of just throwing people in jail just because.
Yes, I know.
I think that creates problems for us, and we never think of these things in the long term. So for me, for example, I wouldn't vote that you should go to jail if I read a scenario where you shot somebody by accident and killed them, and it was truly an accident. In my eyes, you don't belong. You don't belong in jail. Jail to me is reserved for people who are dangerous, in society.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I definitely think, I mean, even though it's a tragedy, and I don't know if it was 100% an accident, it's very different from the other case that happened also this week. What's the guy's name?
What happened this week? You mean with the sergeant?
Yeah, with the sergeant. Yeah. That I think really was more that was more of an example of police brutality, I think, whereas this appeared to be very different. And it just happened to be a Black person that was shot, unfortunately. But I think the two situations are very different, and they're going in two very different directions.
Let me ask you a question. Now, here's the other difficult conversation that we have to have. He shouldn't have been shot.
Right? No, he shouldn't have.
He should not have been shot.
Of course not.
That said, he is responsible for getting shot. Look, I'm just saying, no one wants to have this conversation, and I don't understand why. Because avoiding this conversation for me is causing more Black men to get shot. than just kind of having the uncomfortable conversation in the first place.
Yes, I know.
Which
he should not have gotten back into his car and attempted to evade the police.
where were you going? And once again, this is not me even victim blaming. Once again, I'm very clear. He should be here today. I believe this is a tragic accident. I believe that woman did not intend to kill this guy. Look, mistakes happen. Like, you could be doing something perfectly for years, right? Because pulling a weapon is kind of a reflex, whether it's the taser or your gun. I believe the taser is on your weak hand side and your gun's on your strong hand side. I believe from what I read. And so, like, officers, they put their tasers on the weak hand side. And so you grab your taser and you use your weak hand versus the gun as your strong hand side, right? And so she's a trainer, so she's probably done the right thing correct for years. But on this particular day, the neurons were firing the wrong way, right? He made the situation volatile. He did, because you try to go back to your car. Once again, I'm really trying to have this conversation without somebody calling me a coon, because I don't understand why this is such a hard thing for Black people to grasp, that we have to at least try to put ourselves in their shoes, man. Like, in police officers' shoes, they don't know you. Like, she don't know this dude from nothing. All she knows is your record. And when she pulled up that there's an outstanding warrant out for you, now you are a criminal to her. And so all she knows is, I pulled over this criminal. Now I'm trying to arrest this criminal. This criminal is now trying to get into his car away from me to flee, as I'm trying to prevent him from fleeing. Right? Daunte Wright should be alive, because the cop should have tased him, and that should have been the end of the situation. So the bullet took his life, which is tragic. That said, what caused her to make this mistake in the first place was him not complying. He made this a hostile situation. Now, I get it. He doesn't want to go to jail. And there's a conversation to be had. And I want to make sure I have this information right before I proceed, to make sure that the warrant was about the gun charge. Hold on, just give me 1 second. All right. Officer said when they sought to detain him for announcing the warrant, right? Okay, the nature and insider reviewed court documents that named Wright, one of which was a warrant for his arrest. After the arrest, that the police done because these are the warrant that. All right, so here we go. First case. Wright was accused of carrying a weapon without a permit and fleeing from police. They detailed charges that Wright carried a pistol without a permit and ran from police. A complaint filed on March 4th said that Wright had an encounter with police on June 30th in Minneapolis. It said officers responded to a call about a man with a gun and found Wright in a car with other people. The complaint said Wright ran away from the officers, who chased but did not catch him. It said a loaded handgun was found in the car. Another record showed that Wright was due to attend a court hearing via Zoom on April 2nd. A warrant for Wright's arrest was then filed, suggesting he did not attend the hearing. This was the warrant that the police were acting on over the weekend, officials told the Daily Beast. Arthur Martinez, the public defender who represented Wright, said neither he nor Wright had ever seen the document. He obviously didn't get it, and no one notified me. The last document submitted on Tuesday said the case was being dismissed because of Wright's death. So, okay, yes, it appears that that the warrant was because of him carrying a pistol without a permit. Once again, he was fleeing the police, so this is a pattern of behavior for him. And once again, this isn't saying that he deserved to be dead. He deserved to be in prison because of this warrant. And so it is the female officer's, mistake that he is deceased. My point is, though, we have to have a conversation with black boys and in general. Look, you have to submit yourself to the authorities, man. Like, what positive outcome is going to happen by you running from the police?
None.
Almost none at this point. Like, where are you going? Even if you get away, now you have a warrant out for your arrest, which means the next time you come in contact with the police, it is going to be most likely a very contentious outcome. And so I just don't understand why it's so complicated having this part of the argument. I never hear this part of the argument because this is a very important part of the argument, and we never have it. George Floyd, God rest his soul, another one. There's no upside to resisting arrest. And so
he wasn't. Wait, no. George Floyd, I don't think can really be. Did he resist arrest or did
yes, he resisted arrest.
Okay, but still, his death could have been entirely prevented. I don't think you can compare the two things, though.
We will agree to disagree. Once again, the cop kneeling on George Floyd, yes, he took his life, in my opinion. The case is going on, but my opinion, yes. That said, my point is, what is constantly leading to these black men having these contentious relationships in the first place? That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
There's no upside to you of resisting. None. And we do this thing where we never talk about this side of, and here's the thing. These dudes are dead. You don't come back from death. You don't, it pains me seeing these dudes dead and gone at 20, 22, 23 years old. They haven't even lived life, haven't experienced life, because no one tells them, hey, you should kind of just submit to the authorities. And if some abuse takes place, fight it out, legally, ask for the badge number, ask for, because you are in a struggle with someone who is armed, who has the legal authority to take your life if they deem you to be a threat. And so we can have all these conversations about defund the police and get rid of the police and all this other stuff. Cool. But guess what? What are we telling black boys and black men to do when they encounter police? We just never had that discussion.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, wouldn't you want your brother, hey, if he gets stopped by the police, wouldn't you hope your brother complies?
Yes, I would, of course.
And then if it comes out that a cop was punching him in the face or violating his rights, then you and your family would take care of that post the encounter. Mm-hmm. But if your brother spazzes out, I mean, there's a high probability that your brother ends up getting shot, and then he's dead, he's gone. And so I don't know. I just don't think we're responding to these cases the right way. The Daunte Wright shooting, to me, I don't understand why we're protesting this. Like, what are we protesting? Everyone kind of agrees that this is an unfortunate event. Even the cop herself, she turned herself in. She resigned. I don't think she's going to plead not guilty to the second degree manslaughter charge.
Yeah.
So what exactly are we doing? I think this is kind of just our reflex that Black America does whenever there's a police shooting. And to me, that shows I don't think we're actually being smart about this.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's
a valid point.
Yeah.
No. I agree with your points about people needing to be, about teaching people how to respond to police altercations. Definitely trying to resist arrest and trying to run and trying to do all that is definitely not a smart thing to do. And it does happen a lot.
You could be in the right too. Once again, I'm not saying that you're you could be dead right. Like, didn't do anything wrong. Of course. Mm-hmm. And still, for me, it's not about right and wrong. It's about, especially when I talk to men or about men, I approach men from like a very logistical place, practicality, right? You ain't getting away from these people 9 times out of 10. If you run from police officers, even if you get away from them, now you have to be looking over your shoulder 24/7 until the next encounter. Mm-hmm. Just submit, deal with the encounter, and then move on.
Yeah, but again, I still think that this case is different from the George Floyd case. I will say, it's a different situation.
Okay, so what would you have told George Floyd?
I just feel like, but like, okay, so even if he was resisting arrest, I just feel like that cop had malicious intent to begin with. Because for what reason do you have to kneel on somebody's neck for almost 9 minutes? Whereas,
Even if he did have malicious intent, how does
okay,
my
yes,
advice
yes,
not
yes, the
apply?
cause, yes, yes, I'm just saying, it's two different. Okay, I'm just saying, it's different in the regard. Whereas there are bad cops who still set out to do bad things when they are unnecessary. So I believe that they are different in that regard. I don't think that they're the same.
Okay. I mean, I guess I agree with you. I I just don't think my advice is
No,
invalid.
I didn't say it was different. I'm just saying that I think that the cases are different in terms of the cops involved.
Okay, I agree. I, I agree there. Yes, one this woman here, and I don't care if y'all call me a coon for this. She does not seem, from what I have read about her, she doesn't seem like she was one of the bad ones so far. Like, she seemed like she was a cop doing her job, and she made an awful mistake, like like a brain fart, right? You know, and
A very
that's what.
bad brain fart.
No, I'm with you, but once
Yeah,
again,
yeah. No, I know. I'm just saying.
yeah, it's gonna happen. Like, this is part of the reason why you don't want to make interactions with police contentious, because then you put them on reflex, and now they're not thinking. Now everything is I have to make sure I'm safe. He's running back into the car. Why is he doing that? Is he going to get a weapon? I don't know this guy. He has a warrant for a weapons charge. That's on her mind as well. He's on, according to this warrant here, he might have a firearm on him, but he does seem to have he was in possession of a firearm at some point. Does he have it on him? Is it in his vehicle? I don't know. He ran into the car. Now I'm worried. I'm anxious, and so that part of the conversation is never going to happen, and I think it's kind of messed up. Another point I want to make, I want to bring up based off this case is one as follows. I think this one me and you really going to disagree on.
Oh God.
Look, man, somebody got to say it. This is not a black problem, I don't think.
What's not a black problem?
Police brutality.
Oh Lord. Okay.
I don't think police brutality in 2021 is a black problem based off of all of the stats that I've read. I think we are making police violence a bigger issue than it actually is based off the evidence. I do. Okay, so you tell me why you disagree, and you tell me why you disagree.
There has been evidence that some cops have issues for against black people. You don't remember that story that came out over the summer about the cops that were heard on the radio saying that they're going to kill all the niggers and stuff like that? There's stuff like that. There are people like that spread all throughout the police force. So yes, I think that police brutality is a black problem.
That is not evidence that this is an actual problem.
But when you have people like that that are thinking like that are working in this system, and then you see all of these cases of shooting of black men and police brutality against black men, then you have to put two and two together that there is racism, and that then influences brutality in the police force.
But the problem with that analysis, though, Shannon, is this. Even if I grant you that there's racist cops, right? Once again, the issue is not whether or not there are racist police officers, right? There are racist people in every profession. Police are no different, right? What the question has to be is, are police out here hunting black men, right? That is not true. I mean, the number of unarmed black men, people, not even men, people that were killed, I think in 2018 was like 13 or 14 people. That's it. Like, it is not this long list of people who are shot by police. Now, even if you say, okay, well, what about police harassment? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get shot, but harassment, right? Now, there does seem to be some evidence that suggests that police do harass black people more than they do people of other ethnicities and races. Yeah, but it's also very true that black Americans commit 2.5 more times the violent crimes than white Americans. And so you increase your interactions with the police.
Okay, but what about black men that are just driving through neighborhoods in cars and then cops harass you because they think you stole a car? Or what about security that follows you around stores just because you're black and you walk into a store? Things like that. I feel like police harassment happens all the time towards black people.
All the time?
Huh? Yes.
You Shannon, How many interactions have you had with the police?
I haven't had many, but there are plenty of people that have had many interactions with the police.
Who? So you got,
doesn't matter if I name people. You don't know.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, but I'll take your word for it. How many people you know have had negative interactions with the police?
I know a few people that have had negative interactions with the police.
Perfect. Now, out of those few people, how often have they? How many interactions have they had? Like 10?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. My point is, I'm not saying that policing in America is perfect. I'm not saying that there aren't racist cops. What I'm saying is, what we have done is Black people in America, we are out here making policing. Police are responsible for like such a small percentage of Black death in America. Like just the day, Shannon, it is so small. The number of Black men who did you probably know this already, but for people that are watching or listening that don't know, Black men are the only demographic in America between the ages of 18 to 34 that homicide is our leading cause of death.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. I knew that.
That the only demographic. That's an actual problem where there's no conversation about that problem on a national level at all. At all. Even amongst Black people. It's almost like we don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Black bodies are piling up, but we only care if the ones pulling the trigger have a badge on them.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as it's civilians, we don't give a fuck. I don't understand that. I don't. So you have all of these bodies that are caused by us, we don't care about. But the 14, 15 Black people that are killed by police, we raise all hell about.
Well, I'm not saying, well, first of all, I'm not saying that I don't care about Black on Black crime, because that's obviously an issue too, but I just feel like both things are an issue. One could be a bigger issue than another, but there's still problems that need to be dealt with.
Then how come we spend all of our time talking about the police ones and almost none of it about the I'm
no, okay, yeah.
Genuinely asking why.
I don't know. That's a good point.
I don't understand. And so my point is, if 13 people were shot by police, I am sad for those 13 lives. I am. I truly am. But they're 13 people. 13 people. Meanwhile, you have instances where there are 13 Black people shot in a weekend in certain places in this country. No one cares. No one cares. Come on, children too. Black children. Nobody cares. No one cares. And that's what I mean when I say that for me, the police thing is not this huge problem, right? I feel like as a community, we should be looking at what is killing us and attack those things in that order. And so if we're the only demographic where homicide is our leading cause of death, that's a problem. Then you have heart attacks, a problem. Right? Police are responsible for, like, I remember looking at some chart. It was like so small, but we give it all this attention. And I want to ask why. Do you not see a correlation, though, Shannon, with if we have neighborhoods that have high levels of crime, it means that you're going to have a lot of interaction between the community and police officers as well. Because don't get a fool. It ain't just police driving around harassing people. Does that happen? Of course. It is also citizens, many of the time Black citizens, calling the police because of crime in their communities. It happens all the time. And so if you wanted to decrease the interaction between citizens and the police, it means making neighborhoods safer, bringing the level of crime down. Once again, that's not a sexy conversation, so nobody wants to have it. But to me, I just feel like we're chasing this police brutality story. And I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem to me like it's going to lead to improving the lives of African Americans, in America. No, I could not have been Daunte Wright. You know why? Because I'm not going to run from the police with a gun charge. I'm not. No, I could not have been George Floyd because I'm not going to go and try to pay for food with a counterfeit bill. And if I got caught, I would submit to the police. I'm sorry. I know that makes a lot of you uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It does. But these men could not have been me. And it doesn't mean that they should be dead. But what it does mean is at some point we have to transition to, hey, how productive is this stuff? Burning down stores and robbing stores and tearing up black communities whenever somebody gets shot by police officers. Number one, it's reactive. It's not proactive. And is it actually, do you feel like black people as a community, Shannon, are better off since, when did Michael Brown get shot? What was that? 2014?
I don't remember what year that was.
Whatever it was. Do you feel like that African Americans have made progress as far as our quality of life? Having more money, living in better neighborhoods, being happier. Do you feel like we've made progress since then?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't.
But the fact you don't know is a problem in itself. You would think it would be a definite yes, given all the time and money and attention we've given this issue, but we haven't. You know why? It's not a real black issue. That's what I'm saying. It's not. If it were like it was in the 60s, that's another conversation. So we over time here, but one of these days we have to have a conversation that what is really happening here is certain people in our community need this to be a thing to line their own pockets. And yes, I'm talking about Benjamin Crump, Al Sharpton, various black organizations, the NAACP is included. They need this to be an issue. Black Lives Matter as well. And so they need this to be an issue to line their pockets, to increase their careers. But this is not like a black issue. Like, no, police are not hunting black men because they want to kill us. No, it's not happening. It's not. It's not. I'm not saying that I have no problems with the way we police. I'm not saying that we shouldn't look at police practices. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have civilian review boards, hearings. A lot of these changes that we want to see, I'm not against them. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is you're not going to see this change amongst black people because the truth of the matter is we have a problem in the black community, and that's black men. I'm gonna say it, man. We have to get a handle on black male behavior.
Whoop.
We do.
You said it.
We do. And for me, it's not even about police. It's also black women don't feel safe in their own communities. And it ain't because of the police. It's not. It's because of black men. The homicide in the community, the sexual assault in the community, the rape in the community, all of those stats, if you look into them, black women are overwhelmingly disproportionately affected by those things than white women. Correct, Shannon?
Oh, I haven't. I don't know. I don't know if that. I don't know. So I'm just gonna take your word for it because I haven't listened to the stats.
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm. It ain't white men doing that to them. Once again, people don't want to have the conversation, but at one point, are we going to have it? Because once we do those things, police won't be in our communities because you won't have a bunch of people calling the police all the time to protect them from us.
Woo.
And that's what I want to say.
He said it.
So, like I said, I feel bad for the people of Minneapolis because I'm saying something right now. I've been reading people's takes on this whole Derek Chauvin trial. It seems to be likely that we might be headed towards a mistrial. And if that happens, let me tell you something right now.
Oh God.
Y'all thought the protests during the summer were bad. If this trial ends in a mistrial,
well, of course, but okay, continue.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You finish.
No, I was gonna say, if this trial ends in a mistrial, if y'all thought the protests that happened this summer were bad, as far as the violence and the property damage, y'all haven't seen nothing yet. If you have any means in Minneapolis, you should move out of that city now.
But if it ends in a mistrial, do people not have a right to be angry?
Yeah, but what does being angry have to do with burning shit down?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like people have a right to be angry. If this trial ends in a mistrial, when it's so very clear that this man is guilty, then I would understand that people are angry about that.
Well, I'm with you, but what I would disagree with you is that there's overwhelming evidence that he's guilty. Like, remember, we saw George Floyd die with Derek Chauvin kneeling on him. That is different than saying that you have legal proof that Derek Chauvin is directly responsible for George Floyd's death. It sounds like the same thing, but it's not. And so that's what, legally speaking, it's just a very high legal standard. Now, it's still possible that he might be found guilty on one of those lesser charges, but I've been reading some cases where, look, man, it could be a mistrial. And so I get being upset. I'll get being furious. I believe that Derek Chauvin should be facing some type of penalty. We were almost out of here too. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Now you're good. So I believe Derek Chauvin should be facing some type of legal penalty. I totally agree with you there. But here's the thing. There's a chance that he won't. And then I think there's a more than likely chance that Minneapolis blows up.
Yeah, of course. Of course it will.
And the only people that will be hurt by that will be the people who are poor and black. You know why? Because people who are upper middle class, they can move. They can leave. They have options. That's what I'm saying is if you thought that the last summer was bad, it is going to be off the roof in Minneapolis. So if you have money, if you are blessed as a black person that lives in Minneapolis with options, I would just take a 2 weeks vacation, because it is going to be hell in that city if Derek Chauvin, I'd even say, even if he's guilty on like the lesser charge, I don't think that's enough. So I already know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for
you are. He is.
I know. But look, man, somebody gotta say it. Somebody gotta be the voice of reason. You have anything else you have to say, Shannon?
No, I don't.
The hour 20 mark. But just real quick before we get out of here, do you have any thoughts about the Black Lives Matter founder who's purchasing the 1.4 billion?
I don't think it's a good look for the foundation. Not at all. That's why I put it in there, because I was just like, but not a good look. Not a good look.
You don't find it funny, Shannon, that all these people who constantly talk about Black Lives Matter and who are police brutality, you ever know none of them live around black people?
Yeah, she bought a well, just for context of the story. Wait, did you say it? I wasn't listening. She bought a $1.4 million. She bought a $1.4 million mansion in a very upscale white neighborhood. Where is it? Where was it?
It's somewhere in California, in LA. I don't know. It's some neighborhood. It has like a less than 2% black population.
Not a good look. Not at all.
It's not just hers. All of them. Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crump.
But the thing is, like, where I don't understand where her income is coming from, because they supposedly raised how much? Sorry, let me pull up the article. I didn't think we were going to talk about this.
Well, BLM released a statement saying that that
90 million in donations last year.
Once again, no one tells me where this money is going.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who's in charge of the Black Lives Matter Foundation. I don't know if they're different from the local chapters. Apparently they are. They're two different things. But look,
Yeah, these organizations need to be more transparent about where their money is going. If you're raising 90 million in donations and you're buying a 1.4 million dollar mansion, like where's that income coming from?
Shannon, tell you something. And here's the thing: you don't have to be taking money from the organization for you to still
I'm
be.
not saying that, but I'm not necessarily saying that she's taking for organization.
No, yeah, I
But
get
if you,
it.
yeah, but if you are, this is her title, artist, organizer, and free fighter. I this expensive house in an expensive Los Angeles town. So like it's just not a good look. It's not a good look.
Here's what I want to say, right? She doesn't have to be because BLM released a statement saying that that she did not buy any property with any money that was donated to BLM. You don't have to be using direct funds from BLM to still
No,
be
no, no.
exploiting the
No,
movement. Because
no,
here's
no,
the
no.
thing:
Oh, no, no. I'm not insinuating. Oh, wait. Well, wait.
no,
Hold on.
what I'm saying is that
Okay.
I'm saying that BLM released a statement saying that that these properties weren't bought with funds donated towards BLM. What I'm saying is just because the funds didn't come from BLM doesn't mean that she's not still exploiting her position within the
Yeah,
organization. What
I agree.
happens a lot of times is when you become kind of the leader in a certain organization, you get opportunities in your personal life from the organization. That's
Yes,
and that is still exploitation.
it's true. I'm just sorry. In the bullet points, it says that she wrote a best-selling memoir in October, and she signed a multi-platform, multi-year deal with Warner Bros.
And that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
She probably used that money to buy the properties.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's no difference for me because the reason why you got these deals is because of the movement. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? And so what the movement do, what BLM is trying to do is separate themselves, saying, "Hey, she didn't use our money to buy these properties." What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter. The movement got her these deals, and that's where she got the money for these properties. But once again, I'm just saying, it's just fascinating to me. None of these people ever want to live around black people. You don't find that funny? All of them, all of the rich bougie blacks that are out there preaching about racism and the evils of white supremacy and all of that stuff, they never live in black neighborhoods. They never live around black people. They never have to talk to the average black person. Now, I'm not saying that you have to live in like some shitty area.
Gosh, there's first of
There
all,
are
there are
upper
plenty of
class.
there are upper class black neighborhoods in LA, Baldwin Hills. Like, why didn't you buy your house there? But whatever.
Baldwin Hills, she could have lived because I'm against that, right? I would like to live if I ever get some funds. I would like to live in a kind of like a middle class, upper middle class black neighborhood, right?
Mhm.
So still safe neighborhood. We're not poor, so we don't have a lot of that gang stuff going around. But I would like to live in a upper middle class, maybe upper class black neighborhood, right?
Mhm.
But I would like to live around black people. You
Yeah.
know why? It's actually very important that black people with wealth live around black people because you know what it is, Shannon. In America, we've tied public school funding to zip codes,
Mhm.
and so the more wealthy people live in your neighborhood, the more resources go to your local schools. And
Yep.
one of the problems a lot of black neighborhoods have is black people don't want to live around black people, and so they move and take all of their money and resources to these white neighborhoods, fund their public schools, leaving the local black public schools with less money and options. And I just think it's funny that none of these people want to live around black. You don't find that funny? None of them. First thing they do, Shannon, they get as far away from us as possible. I'm just saying, something to think about. Something to think about. And with that said, we gotta end this week's show. Look, man. Look, I'm worried. I'm worried about us. I'm worried. I'm worried. I have to find my way. I've been thinking about Shannon.
What?
This will be an hour and a half. This is a 6 minute one. I've been thinking about just finding my way to be more. Because I think you have the same problem I have, right? Me and you, or more you than I am. I kind of call, um, alternative blacks, right? Like, I'm sure you've been called Oreo before.
I have
Yeah, right.
my whole childhood actually.
Yeah, exactly. Right? You're black, but you talk white. Now, I wasn't called Oreo. I was called a nerd. I was just a loser growing up, right? And I had to kind of get more comfortable as I got older, being around black people, who were, for lack of a better term, like black, right? Like people who kind of were your stereotypical African American person, right? Used a lot of slang, was a little bit more aggressive than I was naturally. And so I just had to get more accustomed to that environment because that's not who I was. I'm not a confrontational person. I'm not real aggressive. I don't even use the N-word in casual conversations,
I
right? And
never
so,
use that word. I've never, yeah, I don't really.
oh no, high school, I would nigga.
Did you?
You don't remember?
No.
Yeah, I used to use the N-word all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't until I would say a year after college, I kind of wanted to remove the word from my vocabulary. Now I always have like, these weird rules around using the word, but I would use the word around, you know, Isaac and Tyler and my friends, you know, all the time. But my point is, I had to get comfortable kind of speaking in black spaces as I got older, and I was never this. I'm not gonna front. I didn't care about black people that much growing up.
Ooh.
Right? Like if anything, I wanted to get away from them.
Ooh.
I feel like they were the cause of much of my pain and suffering. And so my plan was I did
What?
because you have to remember as a child, I experienced a lot of bullying growing up.
Okay.
I mean a lot of bullying, right? The only common thread was they were all black.
Okay.
Right? And so and my interactions with white people were vacation and television. And they were always really nice to me. So it's to my young black brain, I thought, well, if I can get away from these black people, I'll be happy, right? It was only people that were related to that were nice to me. Everybody else was a jerk to me. Then as you get older, you realize that, well, no, children are just assholes. And so if you're a black child, a white child, an Asian child, if you were, you know, weird or nerdy, you kind of got, you know, teased and bullied pretty bad growing up, right? It's a universal experience. And so once I got older, I started caring more about, you know, my community and things of that nature. But that was kind of a developmental thing. And now my interests now are to help people, you know, who are African American. But I bring this all up just to say that one of the things that I want to do is I want to find different ways, though, to have more conversations and interactions with the common black person, the average black person. Because I'm not the average black person. I'm just not. I'm not saying I'm superior or better, and you ain't either. To be honest with you,
Who said I was? Who said I was? I'm not over here insinuating anything about myself. This is you. This is your.
I'm just saying though, because
I never insinuated anything about me.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying me and you are kind of two sides of the same coin in this respect, where we're not the average black person, but we have interest in helping the black community, right?
I mean, I guess.
Shannon don't care.
No.
About
No.
You, nigga.
No. That's not what. No. I was not referring to the part about helping the black community, but you're making it seem like I don't align myself with the black community at all. And
I didn't say that.
Do. That's what you're making it seem like, though. And that's not true. I
said specifically, you were called Oreo growing up. I remember you. Shannon was a white black girl in high school. Oh, is that fair to say?
That's a very ignorant way of thinking, but go ahead.
But that's how you were viewed by
yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I've viewed as that. I didn't. I'm just saying, though, many did. What I'm saying is we aren't viewed as the average black person for various reasons, ignorant or not. We're just not by our own people. But we have interest in helping our people. That's what I'm saying when I say that. In that respect, we're kind of two sides of the same coin. And what I want to do is find ways to have more interactions with the quote unquote blue collar average black person, even though I'm very uncomfortable sometimes with how they live their lives. And I'm just being 100% honest. I'm not the guy who likes to engage in certain behaviors that a lot of my community does. And it's not a judgment on those behaviors. It's just saying that I don't do a lot of drugs. I don't, you know.
That's not a black thing, though. Everyone, I wouldn't say that that's a black issue.
Well, no, but drug use is higher amongst African Americans. Like that, this is just statistically true. Once again, it's not a judgment. It's just saying I don't smoke. I've never smoked weed ever. Now, will I try it one day? Probably when I'm older and I feel safe doing it some way. But I was never like the smoke the weed guy. I was never the
Weed's legal now. You can just go ahead and do it now. It's legal.
Yeah, and I will at some point, but that was never my thing.
Okay.
But I want to get comfortable talking to those people, because I hate the bourgeoisie blacks more than anything in the world. Right, the Al Sharptons, Benjamin Crumps, those people, Angela Rye and whatnot. Right, so I don't want to be those people, and so but it requires me. I just be honest. I have some critiques of the way Black culture does certain things, as I laid out in this podcast. Which is
I just want to kind of point out. I just want to rewind back to the drug thing because you're making it seem like only a certain type of people like smoke weed, but really like almost everyone's weed. So I'm just gonna just throw that.
So that's not true. Number one, everyone does not smoke weed.
A large majority of people smoke weed.
I don't even think that's true.
I think it is true. I think it very much is true.
Actually. No, it's like 56% of Americans. So that's
more than half.
Yeah, but is that the overwhelming majority? That's like 40-some% that doesn't smoke weed.
Okay, but I still think that from what I've experienced, like even statistically for the whole country, I feel like I've met more people than not that smoke weed.
That it will make sense that that's your experience, though. Yeah, people usually tend to run in circles.
But I'm just saying that it's not limited to like a certain kind of like like I don't really know what you're trying to say, but like it's not limited to a certain type of person. I just feel like a large majority of people smoke weed.
No. There's definitely a correlation between class, and drug use.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, no, it's not debatable. I'm almost 90% sure, positive that people who are lower class, lower middle class.
So you don't think that upper middle class and rich people, you think that they don't smoke weed?
I never said that. I just
I feel like that's what you're trying to say.
That's because you're not listening. I said there's a correlation between drug use and class. What it means is that there are certain there are certain classes, poor, lower middle class, their drug use, the number of drugs that they use, is significantly more than upper class. We're talking about coke, heroin, the opioids in general. Like that's not debatable. And once again, these are not moral judgments. I'm the one. First of all, before China tries to paint me as anti, I'm the one that's trying to legalize all drugs, and she's talking about lock up the Black people.
No, I did not say that. I changed my stance on that already. I did not. First of all, I never even said that. I never even said that. And first of all, I never said that. I just said that certain drugs are dangerous, and I feel like they shouldn't be legal. That's what I'm
with you. I'm just saying, I'm the legalized all drugs guy, right? So I'm not making a moral judgment on middle class Black people. I'm just saying my critiques of middle class Black people is more they're too obsessed with police, I think, and police brutality. There's not nearly enough focus on crime within the community, and making neighborhoods safer for Black children and women, and making us independent of the government. Those are my main critiques of the blue class, Black Americans, right? So what I'm saying is, I want to, moving forward, I'm trying to think of ways to kind of be more included in those spaces, because I want to change certain ethos that they cling to. For example, just a quick one, and then we're done because we're definitely going over. I think Black men care too much about respect, and I think it leads to a lot of violence between Black men. For example, one of the things that I experienced growing up, in my own neighborhood, a lot of men would get into confrontations because they deemed someone disrespected them in some way, shape, or form. And this could stem from stepping on somebody's shoes and sneakers. And I've seen these things happen. Stepping on shoes and sneakers, to getting looked at the wrong way, but these are like, codes of conducts and things that a lot of urban Black men carry with them as they move through the world. And I think clinging to these ethics and these ethos is counterproductive because it leads to confrontations between men that don't need to take place. And what we need more of is like conflict resolution. Just not clinging so much to like this 1950s standard of masculinity that America gave us, because they did. Because there was a point in time in America where two dudes that disrespected each other would have a duel, and these were white Americans. That was the culture. But they outgrew that, and we're kind of still clinging to those things. And that's what I mean when I say I want to kind of change those, codes of conduct that we have in the community amongst the kind of blue collar, lower middle class black men.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I wanted to say. But see, I'm more on your side than Shannon is. But I just wanted to put it out there.
I don't know how. What? I don't know where that came from. I don't know.
Remember, I'm the legalized all drugs guy. Okay.
Oh my
legalized all drugs.
Okay.
So, thank you for rocking with us. This was I think this was a pretty good show that we're on today. I feel like we got a lot out. Thank you guys for rocking with us. We will see you guys next week. I think by then because on Monday the jury is gonna deliberate for the Derek Chauvin stuff, right?
Oh, are they? Oh, shoot.
I'm pretty sure I read that it starts Monday.
Oh,
so it's very possible that next week's show, we'll be talking about what the verdict is in the Derek Chauvin case.
Okay.
So any last words, Shannon?
No, I'm all out of words.
All right. Thank you for rocking with us. We'll see you in a week. Deuces.
Bye.